I thought it would be a good idea to try and recreate an urban sketch that an AI generated, and these were my results. But fun fact, the AI did way better than me. However, I wanted to share some things that I learned in doing this exercise because I really learned a whole lot, so let's just jump in. So the first thing that I learned was a bunch of new techniques. So the cool thing about the AI generating an urban sketch is that, you know, it kind of interprets it in its own way and it generates a whole bunch of new ideas. And so I learned a bunch of new techniques that I wouldn't have otherwise learned, especially in copying the artwork of an AI, because normally we see other people's urban sketches and we don't generally tend to think to copy them because, you know, we're kind of like, oh, plagiarism or whatever. But because it's an AI, I was kind of like, oh, it's okay. And I'm glad I did because, yeah, I was able to learn new techniques of like how to paint and then sketch on top of it, which is kind of what I did for both of these paintings. And I quite like the technique, actually. It's pretty interesting. The second tip that I have is I learned what I need to improve, because when you sketch in the same style every single time, you don't really realize what it is you need to improve because you're kind of just falling into your comfort zone each time you keep sketching in the same way. And whilst it is good to, you know, refine and hone your technique and improve it, obviously, it's also really important, or equally as important, to, you know, improve your technique and to, sorry, no, that's not what I meant to say. I meant to say it's also equally important to learn new techniques in order to be able to maybe improve your technique, maybe add to your technique, learn new things, kind of broaden your horizon and your skill set. So I learned that 1, I need to really improve my watercolor skills, as well as 2, I need to improve my contrast. And I guess that kind of fits into learning how to use the watercolor or use water mediums much better, because my control of it I think is a little not great. But especially in the first sketch, I feel like I could have done the light and dark, the shadow and the light contrast way better with the ink. The third thing that I learned is that it is really good inspiration. You know, it's actually interesting to see what an AI comes up with because it kind of mashes up a bunch of different things that it finds on the internet and you don't really know what it's using. So whilst that is obviously very controversial, at the same time it's very interesting because you are kind of like, when you're waiting for it to generate, or as you're waiting for it to generate, it's really fascinating to kind of see that process. And then when you see it, you do tend to see things which, you know, obviously you do kind of see on the internet, but that exact image you won't be able to see. So it's kind of like Pinterest 3.0, maybe, you know, when you're trying to find inspiration or generate something which you don't normally see, which I think is really fascinating. The fourth thing that I learned from copying an AI sketch is that I was able to focus on technique. And what I mean by that is, you know, the AI has already generated the sketch itself, so I don't have to worry about translating what I see in front of me or a photograph into a sketch. You know, the AI has already done that part. It's already made the line work. It's already decided what color will go where, you know, what material I'm using. And so all of that grunt work is taken out of it, or should I say all of that thought work is taken out of it. Now I'm just doing the doing work, I suppose. And that really allows me to improve and kind of go back to the previous point, improve on my technique. And I think that's a really good exercise, actually, because when we are on site or when we are actually making a sketch from a photograph, we are both having to translate what's in front of us, but also have a good technique. So in order to have a good technique, you'd have to have practice first. So it's actually really, it's good practice basically to copy from an existing sketch. The fifth lesson, I think it's 5 at this point, is that the AI produced way better sketches than me. Obviously, I mentioned that at the beginning, but as depressing as that may sound, it's actually a good thing, or you can take it in a good way, because it kind of acts like a teacher or a mentor, which you can learn from. And I know that sounds really weird, because, you know, it's basically just combining a bunch of different people's images, but I think that's actually a good thing, you know. It's just another way of looking at urban sketches. You know, you can either go to an urban sketching page or to the Urban Sketches official page, or you can go on Pinterest, or you can generate an urban sketch which is generated by an AI, right? It's just another method of improving your own technique, improving your own work, right? That's kind of how I see it. And the 6th lesson that I kind of learned or picked up as I was doing this exercise is that I learned faster because I worried less about the outcome. Now, what I mean by that is that the outcome is already there, the AI is already generated, I just basically have to copy it. And so I found that I was actually learning faster because I wasn't so worried about creating this perfect sketch, because I realized that as I was nearing the end of the 2 sketches, I realized that this is just literally an exercise. It's not me copying, it's not me trying to create my own artwork, because this is already an existing artwork. Why do I need to make it, right? It's me kind of understanding how the AI created it, or let's say an actual, if that urban sketch that the AI made was an actual urban sketch, how that artist would have made it, and then kind of adding my own spin on it. So especially once I started to get into the flow of it, and once I kind of shifted from the mindset of, oh, I'm copying the sketch, to, oh, I'm learning how to make my own version of the sketch, I was able to kind of get more into the flow of the sketch, and I was able to start adding my own techniques and my own kind of nuances to it. And that's also the transition between your monkey brain, which is kind of talking about like, oh, you know, you can't do this, or your sketch is really bad, or blah, 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 to, oh, I'm just doing this to learn, I'm just doing this to, you know, improve and to see where this goes, basically. And I feel like that's kind of, well, that's kind of the mindset I have with regards to AI in general. Let's just see where this goes. But yeah, I feel like that was kind of a rambly video. I hope that was relatively interesting. I really feel like I got a lot out of this exercise, and I'm actually kind of excited to maybe try it in the future. Maybe you can try it as well. You can generate your own sketches on Midjourney or DALL-E, or, you know, Playground, or whatever other AI generator that you have, and see what comes up, see what you learn when you are copying these sketches. Because to be honest, you'd feel less bad about copying an AI sketch than you would about copying a real artist sketch, maybe? Maybe not. I don't know. But anyways, with that, I will see you next week for another video, and I'm going to be releasing more AI plus sketching videos because I find this whole topic really interesting, so stay tuned for those. Alright, bye.